Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's going to have a great start to their weekend, as we are going to be discussing the tropics in today's video, as well as some possible significant severe weather possible today across the Midwest. Let's get right into it. Today, as you can see, we do have a disturbance on the National Hurricane Center in the Eastern Pacific, and this does have a 80% chance of cyclone formation in 5 days as of 11 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Their advisory there, and that is gonna have the potential to produce a hurricane that may make landfall there in portions of Mexico. So we're gonna have to watch that extremely closely here, as the models have pointed towards that becoming a hurricane and stuff like that. The day I'm recording this does have a risk for severe weather. We do have an enhanced risk for severe thunderstorms across Missouri, Kansas, into Nebraska and Iowa. We also have a slight risk up here as well that we are going to have to watch closely, or is the potential I could go live for this afternoon. So definitely keep those notifications on, as we do have a tornado risk. We do have a 5% chance for tornadoes up there, and also 2% up there. So definitely have those ways to get tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, as we also do have that wind risk. We have a 30% chance here for upwards of 70-mile-per-hour winds, and also for hail, we have a significant chance here for potentially baseball-sized hail within some of those supercells throughout those areas today. Now, as we look at the GFS model here, the National Hurricane Center does not have any outlooks yet for the Atlantic, so we are not expecting any storms to develop in the next 5 days. However, we do have potentially quite an interesting system that's going to be coming off of the U.S. Next week that may turn into a tropical storm. We're not sure yet, but it has the deep potential. It's not that far away here, and it's going to happen around Tuesday or so. So let's go ahead and move forward, though. There's our Invest right there, which I didn't mention this yet, but it is Invest 92E down there in the Eastern Pacific. And as you can see, we move forward here with a GFS model. As you can see, it is forming to a tropical storm here around Tuesday or so, or Monday. It could even form into a tropical storm on Monday here, but we're not sure yet. As we head to Wednesday, potentially a hurricane, and so far it doesn't have much making landfall in the Mexico region yet, but it's going to be swifting right past there. And also another system wrapping around near Central America. Definitely some very big time tropical activity that's going to be happening for next week here. Now, as you can see, we have this system that's going to be bringing some storms up there in the Midwest here for Sunday into Monday, and then that's going to be going into the Mid-Atlantic around early morning hours of Tuesday, and that's when we head into the lunchtime hours of Tuesday, when this heads off into the Atlantic here. And then heads towards the Bermuda area. That's when the pressure does significantly drop, and that's when we could see potentially tropical depression, tropical storm, even named tropical storm here that could be going off here. We do have the high pressure down here. That's kind of what's leading it a little bit down there from that high by that jet stream. It's bringing it a little bit southeast, and then that'll be taking it northeast as it catches that jet stream there. As you can see, there it goes. Still quite strong, around 996 millibars. So again, a potential tropical cyclone, potential named tropical storm here, Tropical Storm Bonnie per se. That was in the thumbnail. That would be Tropical Storm Bonnie. And this would be Tropical Storm Blas down here, and a Hurricane Blast could definitely be that big possibility. That could be what we're talking about in the next couple of days. Current satellite view is pretty quiet as of right now. We are seeing a lot of convection blowups in the Eastern Pacific right now. We're also seeing a lot of convection blowups going on in the Western Pacific around the Central America region, and not much tropical waves, as you can see, yet for the main development region. We are seeing a little bit coming off of Africa, but just not enough yet. And that typically happens in mid-July, even into October. We do see those tropical waves coming off Africa, but we're not seeing much yet, mainly due to a lot of dust still that does just linger across these regions here, just kind of preventing a lot of those tropical waves from forming. We're seeing a little bit of convection right now, not anything tropical in the Gulf of Mexico, but a little bit of leftover thunderstorm energy that is in the Gulf of Mexico, triggering some storms over there. Otherwise, the Atlantic right now is pretty much empty and not much going on right now. Again, this is just June here, so we're mainly going to see a lot of the action happening over here in the Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico for the rest of June. Also in the Eastern Pacific, still a lot of stuff going to happen across the rest of June here and even into July, when we do see a lot of this shift eastward. In July and August, that's when we typically see a lot of those tropical waves start to, show up and appear across more of the kind of eastern Atlantic. And there's those sea surface temperatures. And as you can see, Gulf of Mexico is definitely heating up. That's why we are going to see. That's why we did see Tropical Storm Alex that didn't impact Florida. Because those waters are definitely warm. It is already June, and these are already above average for June in the Gulf of Mexico, but they are going to be warming up even more. We are having 29 Celsius, even 30 Celsius over there in those dark colors. But as you can see, we are going to see these warm up substantially as we head throughout July and August. This is when things really get active here. We're still seeing some warm waters, and these are still going to be heating up in the Eastern Pacific, possibly bring some major hurricanes across right near Mexico. That's usually what the Eastern Pacific does, is sometimes it brings some hurricanes to Mexico, Central America. Sometimes it just kind of teases with a major hurricane that just kind of comes very close, brings a little bit impacts, but just doesn't make landfall. So that's probably what we could see with this upcoming Indes 92E, is it just comes right close to Mexico with a hurricane, but just doesn't make landfall. So here's the Indes right now. This is the current analyst of the Eastern Pacific. As you can see, these greens, these are favorable shear values. These yellows are going to be kind of neutral shear values, so it's still possible to develop, but less likely. And then once you get to those red, that's where it really tears apart these storms. As you can see, it's right in between the red and yellow here. So it definitely does have a chance to develop once it does move into these yellow shear value area. That's 20 knots of shear. And once it heads over into around less than 20 knots into 15 knots, that's when it really is going to get its act together. So right in these areas, as it heads off to the west here, that's where it's really going to get its act together, potentially form into a hurricane. That's where we have extremely low shear, very favorable conditions across those areas just south of west central Mexico there. So we're going to have to watch this very closely here, and we can in fact look at also the satellite imagery, which right now it is not showing up as anything organized. As you can see, mainly seeing some very scattered convection around the center, not even much in the northern portion. That's mainly because some of it is over land as of right now. So we're mainly going to see a lot of those convection blowups go just around these areas and not really much on land. Unless we do have a lot of shear on land, which we do, that may trigger some storms do form off the northern portion of that low pressure and then may wrap around or something like that. But as of right now, not very organized appearance-wise. If you did enjoy the video on the tropical update and also severe weather throughout today, again, potential for live stream is definitely possible for today. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single extreme weather update on anywhere in the U.S. And now the tropics here. We are going to be discussing the tropics a lot more since we are now heading into the peak of hurricane season in a couple of months. So definitely have those notifications on, and I will keep you guys updated on anything extreme weather-wise across the United States specifically. But again, tropical season, I now do updates for Mexico about tropical, the Caribbean and all of that sort of stuff. So share this video with any friends or family that may in fact like these types of daily weather forecast videos, and also just generally like the video. It'll recommend this information and also to people who may like these videos as well. But as always, I'll see you in the next one, and stay safe.